This is game number 2 from Go4Go, featuring Changho and Choi Cheolhan. Now, I do want to say, this little itty-bitty game that we are going to see here is going to be a little bit violent. You wouldn't really expect the second game of the top 10 to not be violent, to be a passive game. That'd be really, really strange. And you probably also wouldn't expect to see number 1 to be a passive game, though I will not tell you what that is, though many of you can guess. Now, this is around the time ye old Changho fell flat on his face because everyone was sticking knives in him repeatedly. He tried to back off and do the style that he's accustomed, and everyone just kept stabbing him, which is also one of the reasons why you can thank the modern era for being so aggressive, and why this game will be as well. The way to get rid of the old man's style was to just fight him, fight him, fight him. So we've got potential already on the board. Oh my god, this is going to be a long game if I keep missing every single stone. But yes, we clearly have a potential for a Chinese. Black approaches. We could still do Chinese. If white plays here, for example, we could easily go into a mini Chinese. High Chinese. Kobayashi. As it stands, white says no. I am not going to allow you to do whatever you want. Nevertheless, for those of you who like playing really fast frameworks, you could still approach here, see if he backs off, and you could still go back into something like this. If that's what you had your heart set on, you could still do it. Just because they pincer doesn't mean you have to take no for an answer. Alright, let's see what we have here. Well, black encloses instead. Fairly straightforward. You can usually predict your opponent to grab a move like this. But do you know why you can predict this? Because it seems a little strange, doesn't it? Like, on its face, we've got this stone that we're pincering. So wouldn't you want to, like, naturally follow up somehow? Why is this more natural? Why is that more natural than, like, a follow-up here or a follow-up here? Anyone know? Anyone know why that might be? Because if you said, oh, we play here because it's the largest area on the board, well, you'd be wrong. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, right? That's clearly not true. I mean, this is larger, that's larger, that's larger. Doesn't really make sense. It does stop black extension. We could do something like... Let's say we do this. This is actually still an option. We're extending. We're getting that extension in. And we are attacking the 1 stone now. So we're actually doing 2 things if we still get this to play. If you play something like this, this is still playable. Though now we're probably going to play it after we split. If we kick, that's an aggressive variation, where maybe we play something like this, and then still go back and get in something like this. So black still gets to take like an enclosure and extension thing, which is usually something we're going to frown on and not allow. So yeah, absolutely. Whoopsies, took away 1 too many stones. So this is not a very strange move. It's very natural, we can see why. Which then means that we're going to go into the corner, and we're going to get blocked this way. We are not blocking this way because white doesn't have a stone here. When we block this way, we're losing Sente as white. So if we're going to lose Sente as white, after building a wall, we want a stone there. If we don't, then why are we doing it? It doesn't make any sense. So we're playing here, and here, and here. Then we're going to go in Hane. That way we can jump without the Hane. If we go into a jump right now, we can get pushed and cut, and that would be bad. So we play this instead. Like so. I have to say, this is probably one of the most common openings you are probably going to find in your games. Followed by this. Like we go here, we open this way, we approach, we get pincered, we enclose, they extend, and then we go into the corner. Like both of these are very, very, very common. I don't care if you're a Q, I don't care if you're a Don player. You're going to see this opening in both play. Because it makes so much sense. And it's simple. It doesn't like span all the board. Keeps things nice and open. Everyone's got opportunity still here. Like we can envision something like this to grow if we want to. Maybe we get something like here's a lean. So this kind of thing could be something to shoot for. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe this area becomes large. So we get in a move like this because we're threatening here, so we're going to get a response. So white's clearly got Aji. Black also has Aji. Black can extend here into some kind of an extension. So it's a really nice, very small opening to know that leaves a lot of potential for future follow-up. A lot of ways we can continue the game. Like, we can go influence if we really have to, but we don't need to. We're fine either way. White approaches, because that was black's last move. Black backs away. White moves to settle. Interestingly enough, black responds. And white grabs a base. So pretty straightforward there as well. Pretty straightforward indeed. Now the next largest move, everyone should really be able to find. Next largest move is really, really easy. Anyone who is above, I'm going to go ahead and say 10Q, should know where the next largest move on this board is. If you're above 10Q, you should be able to see it. Is it here? No, it's not. This doesn't put any more pressure on this. This is a pretty strong group, and you're only getting an extra 2 lines of territory for yourself. Not Sente don't like it. You could say, I'm building influence and to play here, but without moves already in place, we might get ignored, and that might get reduced, so I don't like it. We could say that I'm going to play here, but then white will take the largest move on the board and you'll feel bad about yourself. Approach upper left. For various reasons, that's true. We're going to play here because of this stone. If we were to remove this stone off the board, we get this position with enclosure plus extension. And it's always good to remember that. Those are Mii. Enclosure and extension. If your opponent has an enclosure, block the extension. If your opponent has an extension, then block that enclosure. White backs off. Also, another interesting move on the board to take note of. Because we could settle here by playing this way. We could do it, but we're not going to. The reason why we're not going to is because of this stone, and this stone, and that's not something you do in your games. But, and that stone. You kind of see how this becomes a problem? So many forcing moves. Good evening. So many forcing moves. We don't like them. You can envision white growing really, really easily by us playing low here. And that is just not something that we want to do. We would absolutely hate this. Holy crap. And yet, feasibly, those are all forcing moves. So instead of playing low and giving our opponent all those forcing moves, black plays high. Because we do not want to leave all those forcing moves behind. And this is where the game starts taking a turn. We're kind of out of opening now, because we have corner, 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 and corner dealt with. So now we're kind of starting to think about maybe the sides, and potentially growing into the center. So now we've got decisions that we must make. This is where everyone deviates. This is where maybe Q starts showing questionable decisions. People start being too aggressive. Things like that. Now that we have entered the mid-game. Because we could play here. Could. We could play here. Could do that as well. We do neither, of course. A little bit too slow. This is just a 2-space ascension. Your opponent could grow. In fact, your opponent could grow a lot. Because all of these moves I just played are forcing. That's a forcing move. That's a forcing move. The attachment is going to be a forcing move. And then we can kind of connect it all up. So we do have to be careful. It seems like the next move is important. So playing a Gote move, such as this, wouldn't make a lot of sense. I'm wondering about C12 or Q14. C12 is a third line stone, right? So you want a shoulder hit? Or you want to jump or something? I can't really see where C12 is. I'm too far back, I'm sorry. But it looks like you're saying that you want to play something like this. Or this. I'm not really sure where 12 is. I think that's 13. I think 12 is here. 12 is weird. If this is like... I apologize. This is like not like... No, 12 would be here. I'm sorry. Third line. You could. Let's get into a fight though. Extension. Hane. Cut. Defend because of the push and the cut. Into extend. This is the first most natural variation that springs to my mind. And I'm not sure if I like it so much. Seems a bit risk, right? Like this weak group, I don't know, man. Unless you think we can live here immediately locally, we're gonna be running. And I don't know where we're running to. I don't know where we're running to at all. So maybe not that so much, huh? Maybe not that one. Seems risky. We could play here. But again, very, very similar result. We're gonna play here. We're gonna play here. And then the question becomes, do we play this and then get Sente? Because we will get Sente out of this move, because we need to connect this to this. And that's going to involve a few pushing moves. 1, black will respond to. 2, black won't respond to. And then black will play elsewhere. So, I don't know. Could. Mr. Lee Changho. Whoops, get that one off the field too. Mr. Lee Changho says, I am just going to give you what you want. In the hopes that we respond here, we still have forcing moves to get more of influence. So maybe we'll go back and play here now and try to build up into the middle. Boot, 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 boot. But Choi Cheolhan says no. You don't get to extend. Now that we're trying to grow, keep in mind, this is now forcing into this, right? So we've got, like, forcing into, like, forcing or forcing. So we're threatening to grow again, right? Once we see all of these low stones, we can kind of vision our opponent trying to keep advantage on, or keep his potential growing by keeping us low. They get kind of uncomfortable, right? So Lee Changho says no. No, 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 no. You can't do that. Black says I'll grow. It's still a pretty healthy area. If we get like an area like this, or maybe get a cap over in here, we can still grow, right? We can easily still grow. Nice little probe. Nice little probe. Good little probe. It's asking, can I live locally? Or am I just going to get, like, Aji over here to extend from? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Black says, no. No Aji. Well, not entirely true. The Hane is here, so there's a little Aji. He could say there is no Aji on the outside this way. But then maybe there'll be Aji this way. So, can't do that. Then we're going to go ahead and just reduce. Very rarely is this stone played. Can anyone tell me why this stone is not on the third line? Usually when we split third line stones. Why isn't that one on the third line? Can anyone explain this to me? That one seems a bit confusing. Why? How do we decide between third and fourth line splits like this? Is it just random? Did he ask the magic 8-ball? I wonder what a game like that would look like. If you chose all the moves based on the magic 8-ball. If you looked at this and you said, exactly, we play low if there's a way to get a 2-space extension. And you could play here and say, oh, I can get a 2-space until you realize, well, what if your opponent plays the other side? Then you can't. So you could say, okay, I'm going to play here then. But again, same thing. Here then, same thing. There's no way to get a 2-space extension. So once you realize we can't get an adequate base, then we don't try. And we play high, that way it's harder to keep us low. I like how black ignores. For one move, just to keep this low. Without this, there will be some Aji here later on. Alright, so we got that now. So, right now, I did mention this is going to be a bit of an aggressive game. And you're probably wondering where that aggression is going to take place. This actually seems like a very straightforward game. It looks like we got one person maybe trying to build, depending on what happens here. One person that was trying to build, but now we're getting reduced. I mean, it seems like a nice direction of play game, but doesn't really seem to strike a chord with the more aggressive players right now. I don't think anyone would be playing this game thinking, oh yeah, this game is violent. Right? Rather than just jump away, we ask about the Aji again. White drops down. He's just asking about the Aji, that's all he's doing. It's like, I saw an ad in the paper about Aji. Oh, and for those of you younger viewers, the paper was a big wad of paper that was delivered to your door that had the news on it back before the internet. Looks like we're having trouble living here. This doesn't live, right? We play here, responds. Play a tiger's mouth, we throw in, it's dead locally. Looks like not a lot here. Not a lot here. Puts a little pressure on the corner. Black comes out. We don't do this because that's insane. White's pretty weak here if we just like allow him to surround us. That's way too passive, so coming out is really good here. Asking if we can live. Do you mind if I live? Now this is the tricky part. If we say no life in here, like so, there's actually a ton of Aji back in here. There is so much Aji back in here, because keep in mind, this is also a cutting point, a small knight, right? Small knight cutting point. Okay. So, if we cut through here, we could try laddering. Looks like it works. But then we start thinking about forcing moves. And it gets a little bit more complicated. Little bit more complicated. Because if we play simply here, then we get to cut through this one in Sente. Because push, cut, fix, we're out. And if we play here to defend against that variation, we get to play here, protect, and then we're still going to get cut. So there's a ton of Aji here. There's a ton of Aji back in here. No matter how you try and defend this area, there's a stupid amount of Aji. That doesn't even take into consideration this one, where we just take Atari straight out, and then Atari, cut through and potentially kill. So Black says, there's too much Aji for me here, sir. I am going to defend myself. I am not doing any of that. Not gonna try and kill. So White gets to live. But White is living in Gote, which means, wait, hold on. I see what you're saying. You're right. No, yeah. This one. My bad. That was that one, not that one. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying now. That was over too far, because derp, that still exists. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. My bad. Yep, sorry. J16 was not really... Yeah, J16 was not really played. Sorry. It was K. My bad. Sorry. Apologies. Oh dear God. 016 stone is also not there? Oh, right. No, wait, what? Now you got me confused. What are these stones that aren't there? 016? O16 is... Is this one? No, he plays it. Right? Let's undo. Before this one, there was this one. Right? Because White played the Hane here. And then we played here. Nope, sorry, Whitestone. Then we played here. And then instead of trying to kill it, we played the defensive move, which allowed white to go back and live in the corner, which gives Sente to black. I see. Yeah, so that's what happened. We played the Hane here, responded, Tiger's Mouth, did not throw in to kill. Instead we defend because of the Aji that we took place, the Aji that we saw in the variation. So white went back and lived, and now it's black's turn. And now black extends. White connects. So I have to commend black right now that he's attacking for profit, it looks like. You see how he's kind of picking up points in here? Isn't that cool? He's attacking for profit, not attacking to kill. This is a guy to learn from, man. He's attacking for points, not pleasure. See how he just, like, pointfully surrounds groups? It's really good. Forces his opponent to try and defend himself. Just solidifies everything else as a result. Oh, look at all that crap in the middle. It's so nice. Look at all these dumb moves white has to play to not be dead. That right there is profit, ladies and gentlemen. White has to keep playing... That stone's chipped. White has to keep playing dumb Atari just to not be surrounded. That is very nice right there. That right there is amazing. Yes, we're attacking for points, not pleasure. We're trying to win the game, not just feel great about ourselves when we kill him. No. We are playing for point. Goes into there to extend so it doesn't get killed. That's now a problem, so we connect, or we defend it. White has to not be dead, so we play here. And now we're fine. Because we can't play this, it leads into a ladder that goes to white stones. You see? See how everything works out nicely there? However, we also can't just give this to our opponent. That's a lot of area. So how are we going to start reducing? How are we going to start reducing? Because we can't just give the top to our opponent. That's way too much. That must mean we're going to do some kind of reduction stuff. And believe it or not, the answer is already on the board. Because, as mentioned, we can't play here because of the ladder. So we already have everything we need to know about how to reduce. We're going to go after the ladder. Attachment into a ladder breaker is amazing, because that means there's so much going on. White's going to try and surround. Black's coming out. White's continuing to surround. It's looking a little bit scary. Play the Hane because of the Atari. But white does similar, threatening to kill off the entire top. That is certainly a problem. So we create some more Aji. Like so. Because that gives us Atari. Like so. And now you can kind of see this new thing we're kind of going after, right? What's going on the top of the board? So now we extend, because we've got threats to connect in multiple places. This is getting a little bit scary. So white plays the Hane into an Atari. Take. Atari. Fill. Now, it doesn't look like anything here really worked, right? And this is where the interesting part of this comes along. Because remember, we were trying to live back in here originally. But now it looks like we might have a chance to. Because white has to prevent that from going anywhere. Which means we get to Atari here. And then connect. Play start and double Atari. Taking that would be good. We take that, and then last but not least, we get eye shape. In Gote, but it's still eye shape. So that right there is an interesting result. But it gets more interesting too, doesn't it? Because our top was taken away, but thank you. I'm glad you like the lighting this stream. Glad to know my money was not wasted. So yeah, we got our territory taken away. But what did we get out of this result? What was the upside of this? What was the upside of this? Anyone know? Is there no upside? Do we just resign? A huge wall. And what do we do with the huge wall? Do we make territory? Do we make territory with the huge wall? Is that what we do? Do we just do that right now? Is that a good use of a huge wall? What do we do with huge wall? With huge wall, we want to attack. We want to attack, right? So, we can lay our eyes on these 3 stones, and our follow-up move that we get to play now. We get to follow up here. And you can see how this works together, right? If we get Sente out of this, we could play something aggressive. Maybe even very aggressive. And see if we can't unsettle these 3 stones. I do want to be careful. Don't think of the left as an invasion. This is not black's area yet. This is, and like here into here is. This is still very much open. Even without this, we would not call this black's. So be careful in how you think about that. It's not an invasion. So we follow up, and rather than just playing passively, because of the danger on the board, we have to try and do something a little bit more proactive. We play here to create a cutting point before defending, hoping that maybe our opponent will be worried about this or this and not attack there. But white says no. I will be attacking there. I don't care that you poked me. I don't care that you created a cutting point or 2. Stupid. We're going to attack. Because of all of that wonderful things that you just gave us. We're going to attack. So we respond as aggressively as we can. White's now threatening to come out. Whoops. Sorry, wrong bull. There we go. Getting dangerous. Oh, getting dangerous. We can't let this go. If we get unsettled here, we're dead. Simple as that. If this were to like have this kind of thing going on, and then it lives, then this group dies. This is way too solid of a wall, right? There's like no defects in this wall. That's weird. This one stone is noticeably larger than the others. I think that's the wrong size. Anyway, yeah, this would totally die. Because you have nowhere to run. Right? So no choice but to be aggressive as possible. We're starting to get some subtle. White profits a little. And black counters. Now, I want to point out what just frigging happened there. This was an attack that White was performing because he was strong, right? Remember? Strong wall? Right. So, what we have here now is a little bit of extra influence gained by Black, right? And now he's using it to attack. You see how the board looks a little bit different now? Because now we're seeing like thickness over here, and then suddenly like what's going on this side? The board just kind of like flipped on its head. Isn't that cool? We're now using our influence to attack our opponent, who is using his influence to attack us. Try not to die, because that would suck. Connecting. Asking the question, can I please kill these stones? And Black says, no. It's like, alright, I guess we're going to continue fighting. Whoops. There we go. Remember, this is still really huge. Oh my god, so huge in fact, we played immediately. My bad. I got ahead of myself. Mihane. Connect. And then extend. Now if we cut, it's also an Atari, and cuts off the 2 stones. So we play here. Trying to get him to play here, so we can net him and kill him. That is the idea. Black does not go for it. Keeping pressure on. Now we're out. We have to go back and cut. However, think about the shape that we're making. That stone gets taken, right? That stone in the future gets taken, right? So you can imagine... See what you can imagine? This is becoming quite a thing to imagine. So we've got here... This looks very vulnerable. But I like how we first play this move to make our territory. Even if this is a possibility, we make the frickin' territory and defend ourselves. We kill that cutting stone first. White stays aggressive. Black says, you what, mate? White says, I stay aggressive. Connect it on up. Trying to turn. Look at his goal. He's trying to kill all of the stones. He's still interested in, like, all of that area. Cut that off before it can go anywhere. Now, I would have anticipated this. I would have thought for sure we play here now. Like, I don't fully understand what happens next. Actually, I lied. I do understand. I understand what happens next. Now that I read it out, I'm sorry. I see. I see why we can't cut here. Do you see why we can't cut here? It took me a second. I'm sorry. Here's why we don't cut here. It looks tempting, doesn't it? To play here? Because it forces this variation. But the problem here is we need to respond here. And this isn't alive yet. So we can't play this way. So we do this. Our opponent connects, no aji. Then we play here. Now he's going to try and kill off the middle stones, all of them. All of them, all of them, all of them, all of them, all of them. Black comes out. White extends. Black has to come out again to not lose these stones. They're kind of important. 2 stones captured. Two stones taken. Wrong bowl again. So we remove that. We remove that. And then black says you're dead. Black says you can't live here anymore. Now, just to make sure everyone's on the same page in terms of reading, does this move work? Does that move work? You folks see the last minute announcement for our National Go Center opening stream. Nope. Can anyone see why that move does not work? If we play here, we get cut off, but then we Atari. It doesn't work. And no matter where we play here, it doesn't change the fact that if we get played here, we Atari, and it doesn't work. Right? So this never has to be taken, and if that doesn't have to be taken, then we're in trouble. That means these are fine as is. Connects. Protects. Extends. And again protects. Now there is no way to make an eye there. So white resigns. Oops. Oops. Someone just got deaded. It's actually quite cool on a subtle level, because we were in a position where all this influence was attacking these 3 stones, right? Like all of this influence Like, all of this influence that we had here was attacking these 3 stones. And white even got to play here to try to attack. Right? Right? But by playing here, black got the influence that he needed to go back and assault the bottom side. So it was a fast change, but it was a really, really cool change. It went from like, this is white's area of influence, I'm attacking you, to this is now black's area of influence, I'm attacking you. That was a really cool change. I like that change a lot.